Hey, Summerhill Cinema 700 here. Hope all you guys are having a great day. Before we get started on this video, I just wanted to quickly talk about the horrible news that we found out yesterday that Edward Van Halen had passed away at the age of 65 years old. Uh, his cancer, which had come back recently, unfortunately took his life, and it's such a tragedy. And he's arguably, if not the greatest guitar player of all time. He definitely is in my book, and I've been a fan for just so long, and it's been a huge part of my life as a musician as well. I'm a bass player, and just Van Halen's music, the whole group, Michael Anthony, Alex, and then as singers, both David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar. But Eddie is the driving force behind Van Halen, and it's just so upsetting to hear about it. And I remember I had heard last year that the cancer had come back, and I was really worried. But then I just kind of forgot about it because I didn't hear anything after that. So I just figured that he had gotten better. And then yesterday I was watching a movie. I was actually watching The Exorcist, and I get a phone call from my mom, and she says, "Oh my, you're not going to believe who just died." And she says, "One of the greatest guitar players of all time." And I thought, I couldn't honestly think of who it could be. I thought maybe Angus Young, and I thought that would be terrible. And she said Eddie Van Halen. I was just like so shocked. And just the day before yesterday when he passed, the day before, I guess it was Monday, I listened to the entire Van Halen 1 album at work. I started at 6 a.m. I was in there early, and I play music when I go in there. And I listened to the Van Halen 1 in its entirety, which I do all the time, but I just happened to listen to it just literally the day before I find out this horrible news yesterday that he had passed away. So I just thought I just wanted to say, the biggest rest in peace to Eddie Van Halen. Thank God, we have their music lives on forever, and that's one thing that they have that's so great about being a musician and whatnot. If you have that great music that you leave behind, and their music is just world renowned. It's incredible. And spent the night last night watching a lot of his concerts. Me and my buddy, we watched the concert from, I think it was from '91, with Hagar on lead vocals. It was in Dallas, Texas. It was a show that they played live right in the street, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, what a sad day. But on the bright side, we find out that AC/DC is coming out with a new album, and they actually just released their new single yesterday, "Shot in the Dark," and it sounds absolutely fantastic. Probably their best album since, like, I'd say Black Ice is probably it might be better than Black Ice. I got Black Ice when it came out, but anyways, we're going into this a lot. I could do a video for 3 hours just talking about Van Halen and their influence and whatnot, but it's kind of nice that we got a little bit of good news out of the terrible news that he had passed away. But again, rest in peace to Eddie Van Halen. Condolences to the family, and the music, lives on forever. And so let me know if you're a Van Halen fan. Let me let's discuss it in the comment section. Have you seen him live and whatnot? Just love to hear what you have to say. But yeah, that's definitely a sad day yesterday, and definitely a musician that'll never be forgotten. So thank you for the music, Eddie. Now let's get on to today's video, which is going to be my top 10 horror movies to watch this Halloween. This list changes once in a while, but for the last few years it stayed pretty much the same. So I thought I'd do a video. And sorry about the lighting, because I got a bright light in the room, so it's going to be kind of odd lighting. But anyways, this is going to be a top 10, my top 10 movies to watch this Halloween. A lot of these movies I'm going to watch. Some I already have this October. And it's also a list, recommending some movies for you guys. I'm sure a lot of the people who watch these videos are big horror fans and whatnot, and they've seen most of these films. But for others who haven't, and they're looking for something to watch, this might be a good list for you. So before we get into the top 10, we're going to do some honorable mentions. So first honorable mention here is going to be the Werner Herzog film Nosferatu with Klaus Kinski. Very gothic type of film, vampire film. Just has a dark vibe to it, which seems perfect for Halloween, and it's an awesome vampire film. The next honorable mention will be Lucio Fulci film, Manhattan Baby. This is the first Fulci film I ever watched. It's basically about this curse from Egypt, gets put on this little girl who lives in New York City, And compared to some of his other films, I can watch Fulci films all year round, even this one. But this one might be a better one to watch around Halloween, just with the whole curse idea to it. Next honorable mention, we have this film here called Demon Wind. This is a very strange movie. I just watched it for the first time. I think it was either later last year or early this year. I think it was late last year. It's Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome. It's just a really wacky film. They go to this group of friends. They go out in the countryside and they go to this weird place. It's like a house, but when they walk in, it's like invisible. And honestly, I can't remember too much about it, but it has a kind of a Halloween vibe to it. So, and freaking great artwork. So that was a weird one. And then the last two honorable mentions will be first up the original Child's Play film, as well as Child's Play 2 and 3, but especially the first one. Watched that one a few times in the Halloween season in the past. And then last but not least would be the Puppet Master franchise, particularly part 1 through 3, which are my favorites. Again, these are the type of movies that I can watch all year round, but it would be kind of fun to watch them around Halloween. But now into the top 10, which are ones that I mostly watch around Halloween time. Coming in at number 10, we have the Leprechaun franchise, particularly the first 3 films on here, which are my favorites, similar to the Puppet Master series. But even though these aren't really based around Halloween time, I'd watch these a lot on the AMC Fear Fest that they have, and I just got into these probably like 3 or so years ago, and was watching them on there, and then that kind of is what got me into them, and I got this collection recently. Happy to have. But yeah, these are just ones that I tend to watch around Halloween because of the AMC Horror Fest, Fear Fest, or whatever it's called. Always fun ones to watch. Number 9 is a film here titled Burnt Offerings. I've done a review on this one if you want to go check that out. It's basically about this family that moves into this house, and it's like the house is evil. All this crazy stuff is happening. People are having visions and whatnot of like people who lived there in the past. It's like this super old house, and just a lot of creepy ass stuff is happening. But it has kind of a fall time vibe to it. And I mean, even that cover there where you can see like the fallen leaves over that stone plaque. It's just kind of cool. It's definitely be a good one to watch around Halloween time. A very haunted house vibe to it. And just even that cover art. Does that not scream Halloween? It does to me. Anyway, so that's number 9. That's Burnt Offerings. Coming in at number 8, we have the Amityville Horror, the original. This is the collection here from Scream Factory, which is now out of print. A lot of people say that Amityville 2: The Possession is a great film. I haven't watched it yet. I still have this sealed. But Amityville Horror 2: The Possession is on the AMC Fear Fest, and I recorded it, so I'm going to check that out. But that would be my number 8, would be the Amityville Horror, the original. Pretty damn scary film. I got a little list here, too, which I'm following, which I wrote down so I can keep myself on track. Coming in at number 7 is going to be The Exorcist, which is the film. I was watching it yesterday when I found out the tragic news about Eddie Van Halen, and it was probably like the last 15 minutes of this film I found out that news, and it was kind of hard to concentrate on the remainder of this movie after I had found out that terrible news. But nonetheless, this comes in at number 7 on my films to watch this Halloween. What a terrifying film. I mean, this is one of those ones that it sticks with you when you watch it. No matter how long ago you watched it or how recently, it sticks with you. Coming in at number 6, we have the original Pet Sematary. This is a genuinely terrifying film, and when you're a horror fan, a lot of as you watch more and more horror movies, they get less scary. They're fun to watch, but this one is genuinely scary, and it terrifies me every time I see it, especially the Zelda character. When I first saw this on TV, when I was probably 14 or 15, it scared the shit out of me when I saw that scene with Zelda in the bed. Totally terrifying. But yeah, this is definitely a good one to watch around Halloween. Freak your friends out. So that's number 6. Coming in at number 5, we have John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. Absolutely awesome film. Of course, because it's a Carpenter film, we also get an absolutely awesome soundtrack. This one has Donald Pleasance in it. Very spooky vibe to it. And yeah, just to me, it screams the Halloween kind of season. So that is Prince of Darkness. Awesome film. Again, not going in too much into depth about these films because, again, most of you who are horror fans have seen these already, but it's just kind of, a straightforward list. Coming in at number 4, we have this film here, which I just discovered for the first time. I think it was probably 2 years ago that I got this, and that's The Changeling. It's really cool, too, because this film was filmed where I live. It was mostly filmed where I live here in British Columbia, Canada. But this is another haunted house film, and this one is really, really freaky and just super atmospheric. Definitely check this one out if you haven't seen it before. It's got a great soundtrack too, and thankfully the Blu-ray from 7 Films came with the CD soundtrack if you got the special edition. So that's The Changeling, very scary haunted house film. Number 3, we have another John Carpenter film, and that is Christine. This is another one that I love to watch around the Halloween season. Again, great soundtrack. And I'm a big fan of muscle cars, so can't get enough of seeing that Plymouth Fury, as well as the other cars in there too. I think there's a Dodge Charger, and it's just it's a Carpenter classic, and again, one that I love to watch around Halloween. So that's number 3, Christine. Okay, into the final 2 here. So coming in at number 2, we have, based off of the Stephen King novel, we have Salem's Lot, directed by Tobe Hooper. And this was originally a 2-part TV series. I believe it was a 2-part series. A running time of 183 minutes, so a pretty long one. And then, of course, put into a film similar to which came later, It, which just did the same thing. But this is, again, one of those films that if you're a horror fan, you watch a lot of horror movies, but this one is genuinely very terrifying. And it's got a really awesome soundtrack, super atmospheric. The town that it's set in just works perfectly, and it's just an awesome vampire film. This is probably my favorite vampire film. Super scary. Again, I watched this one for the first time just a few years ago, and man, it's there's Barlow there. But you got to watch this one if you're a horror fan. This is a super freaky film. Great to watch around Halloween for time. Definitely check that one out if you haven't already. And of course, number 1 is probably not going to be a surprise to any of you, is the Halloween franchise, particularly the first one, which I consider the original Halloween to be my favorite horror movie of all time, and just one of my favorite films in general of all time. So number 1 would be the Halloween franchise, particularly number 1. My second favorite would probably, surprisingly to a lot of people, would be Halloween 3, The Season of the Witch. Yes, I know it doesn't have Michael, but I think a lot of people have started to realize over the years that even though it doesn't have Michael as a standalone film, it's great. And this even, you could probably tie this with the original Halloween of best films to watch on Halloween. This is just, it screams Halloween because it takes place on that day, like the other films, but it just is just an awesome film, and I've come to love it. I actually just ordered the set of NECA figures from Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I fucking paid way too much for them, but I had to get that. So yeah, Halloween, the original, would be my favorite. Then Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Then I'd probably say Halloween 2, which I would consider to be one of the greatest sequels of all time. And then after that, it would be 4 and 5, which I just watched the other day. And I love those films too, especially 4. But yeah, number 1 is going to be the Halloween franchise, particularly Part 1, the original Halloween. And then coming in at second would be Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. I got to watch those 2 films every Halloween. They're just must-watches for me. So anyways, that's my top 10 horror movies to watch this Halloween. Let me know what you think of these films. What are your favorite films to watch around the Halloween season? It's hard to believe that we're already in October. It's been such a crazy year. But, we got the Friday the 13th box set to look forward to. We got a new AC/DC album coming in November. So some nice things that are coming out of this otherwise pretty terrible year. But yeah, so let me know what you think of these. What are your favorite, again, Halloween films? And look forward to hearing what you have to say. And again, leave your comments about your Van Halen memories. So thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.